This is Dirshu Mishnah Beruraha as we continue learning Hilchos Tefillah, the halachos of Tashlumim, most particularly, and we pick it up in Siman Kuf Ches Sif Hey. Says the Machaber Afal Pi She'in Tashlumim El Tefillah Asmucha Loisa Tefillah. As we've learned already that there's only Tashlumim for the Tefillah that is closest to the Tefillah that you're in the middle of davening. Utefillah is Achera Shevsid Ein Lem Tashlumim, and the other Tefillah is that you missed. There are no tashlumim for it, meaning once you miss it, unfortunately, there's nothing more that can be done. Says the Machaber, if you want to daven it as a nidava, if you want to daven a optional supplicatory type of tefillah, then you're allowed. And says the Machaber, as we turn over to the next page, and what do you have to do? You have to say something new in the tefillah, or just be other, you're allowed. And it is appropriate to do this. So says the Mishnah Beruraha, it is nachayin lasais kain, this is the right thing to do, to say a tefillah of a tashlumim in a situation in which you can't do a tashlumim. Why can you not do a tashlumim? Because it's not a tefillah that is samach la'isa tefillah. For example, you missed two tefillahs, or for example, there was more than one tefillah in a row. So says the Mishnah Beruraha, Sivkatan Yod Ches, Imratza, Ulachein, Misha Yachayloi Tafas B'Tfisa. Someone who is sick is another example, or he's tafas, he's in some sort of jail that he can't daven, Lo Yamakab Naki, there's nowhere clean, Kishyatza is Baal Kol HaTfilah Shefse, when he leaves, he should daven all the tefillahs that he missed. You should daven all the tefillahs that you missed, starting with Ma'ariv, then Shachris, and then ultimately Mincha, then Shachris. You left jail in Rosh Chodesh. In all of them, you say Al V'Yaval. You wait till after Shabbos. Why? Because the halachas that we learned in Siman Kuf Zayin, the Karmelim Siman Kuf Zayin, she'ein mispalelin nidava b'Shabbos, as we've seen, you do not have a nidava is on Shabbos. V'nachayin lasas kein sivkatan yotah, says the Mishnah Beruraha. Ayin pri Megadim she'eskin the toiv she'yasta v'yomer. Says the Pri Megadim, it is proper, it is good to make it tenai and say, if I'm obligated to daven, then this should be as an obligation. And if not, I raise you l'nadava. This is going to be an optional tefillah. And with this, you're going to fulfill all your obligations. There are many opinions that hold that there is tashlumim for davening. I feel like kama tefillah she'avru, even many tefillahs that you miss. Meaning, we paskin that once you miss more than one, it's over. You're only allowed to do tashlumim for the tefillah that is nearest by. But says the Mishnah Beruraha, there are other opinions, and therefore nachayin lasais, it's appropriate to be suspectful for those other opinions. And we continue with Sivav. Says the Machaber in Sivav, the day concluded, and you didn't have a Mosaf, Ein La Tashlumim, you missed Mosaf, and there's no Tashlumim. Says the Mishnah Beruraha, Sivkat and Chaf, one Mishnah Beruraha Tashlumim, Da'ich Yikr Karbanis Ukvar Avar Zman Mosaf. How could you say Karbanis if the Zman already passed? And again, this just once again reaffirms the detail that davening is a carbon. Therefore, when the day misses, you can't bring a carbon Mosaf on the next day. Continues the Machaber in Siv Zay. As if you were amazed and you didn't daven, there's no tashlum for amazed. Even the tefillah that is closest by, even the tefillah samachla, there is no tashlumim if you miss the tefillah b'amazed. V'imrati ismalos and adav, you're allowed to daven a dava. And you don't need a chiddush, you don't need to add something in if you daven in the next tefillah. Says the Mishnah Beruraha, Sivkatan, Chav Aleph, you are hazing. Umisha balabes knesset samol arvis v'zal arvis b'yoyim b'dayin los b'al mincha. Someone comes to the shul on the davening early ma'ariv, which we'll see is not necessarily optimal and definitely calls into question. The only time that it might be optimal is on Shabbos due to Tosefes Shabbos, but in general, davening ma'ariv early is not lechatchila. But this person didn't daven mincha yet. It's not appropriate what he did. It's not considered a hazed. Because his man did not pass yet. What do you mean you're not allowed to daven mincha? Why not? Because you made a ma'ariv and you daven ma'ariv. It's not considered amazing. You're allowed to daven ma'ariv 2 times. That's a klal. Anytime you're davening 2 ma'arivs and the next day is Rosh Chodesh, so the first one, of course, it's the Alviyavo, it's ma'ariv. But the second one, which is Tashlumim, which is Mincha, wait, but Mincha you don't say Alviyavo, right? Because it's not Rosh Chodesh by Mincha. The answer is no. Once you daven ma'ariv, you have to say Alviyavo by post. Since you already accepted upon yourself that it is Rosh Chodesh and the fact that you said Yalviyavoy. Continues the Mishnah Beruraha on the first white line. You spell Hashniya Gamkin Shel Shabbos, the same thing. You miss Mincha Erev Shabbos, you're davening 2 ma'arivs and Shabbos. You mentioned Shabbos in both. Says Mishnah Beruraha, quoting the Dagul Mervava, the Shari Tshuva, Tim lo isker b'rishani Yalviyavoy. And now this is where things get confusing. You missed in the first one Yalviyavoy. Gam b'shniya lo yaskir. So then in the second one, if you missed it in ma'ariv, so you don't repeat ma'ariv. But now the second tefillah that you're doing, which is tashlumim for a mincha, because you missed it in ma'ariv, you don't do it in mincha, in the Shemona Esrei mincha either. In this case, because it's all day. So to equate this in a quote-unquote regular case when it would be night, of course you would say Alviyavoy. You weren't sure if there was say, and then there was. You're a Pashay, you should have checked, you have to have it again. It's called a Mezid. Because the fact that you should have checked and you didn't check makes it into a Mezid. Says Mishmur Sivkat Chavbeis, you don't need to be Machadish, anything Vabach Lagra, Pasku Desar Chiddush. So of course Lechatchila would be to add in a Chiddush, but as we've learned, it's not so simple, this Chiddush. It means in each and every bracha Shemona Esrei adding something in. We conclude today's share with Siv Ches. Says the Machaber, Mishlei Yisrael Ba'oishi, Yishlei Zman Lisvalel. You didn't daven this whole time to damnation. You think I can finish doing whatever I'm doing, and I'll have time to daven afterwards. And what happens at times is you miscalculated, or it took longer than anticipated, and you missed the time of tefillah. You're middle of work. You couldn't come to hefsid, you couldn't leave the office, and then you missed davening. If you're drunk. That's all called an aynis, and this is the reason why we are pretty liberal as you're seeing these cases over here. You thought you had time, but you didn't end up having time. One was shikr, one was busy at work. It's called an aynis. It's not called a shayeg. Therefore, there is tashlum. Says the Rami, says the Rama, but of course, this should never happen. And we conclude with Mishnah Beruraha Sivkat Chav Gimel. Even this is something you shouldn't have done. You shouldn't have gone to take a haircut. You shouldn't have done all these different things at the time of davening. And yet, and you did it incorrectly, and you started b'isr. Since you didn't just push off, and that's the line. That's going to be called the mezid. What's a mezid? When you pishat nefesh, you just backhandedly, without any care, you pushed off a tefillah, you suffer, you thought. Very classical case. I thought I'll have time to daven. You didn't. Then you get teshlumim. Will be the same thing. You're going to be allowed to daven teshlumim. Before we call it a day, let's just look at Dirshu over here. Note number 49. Another classical case. What happens if someone falls asleep? Says the Machar Chaim, he has Tashlumim, definitely could happen on Shabbos afternoon with the Mincha, could happen always. You fell asleep, then you'll get Tashlumim. Number 50 says the Dirshu, and similarly, if you're not doing anything, you're just lazy, Lisbal Achshav, and you think, I'll daven later, and then what happens? Classically, you forgot. Says Aruch HaShulchan, you still get Tashlumim. Why? Because again, it was not Peshat Nefesh, you didn't push it off. You were lazy, okay, right now I'm on the couch, I'll daven in an hour from now, and then I forgot. You do get tashlum me'idach, but in this case, Chasam Sefer and the Mekar Chaim are not so happy. They say if you're just lazy, that's why you missed the tefillah in the first place. You do not get tashlumim. And the Dirshu here points out to Mayin and the Sharet Tzion, whether we have a raya or not. But definitely we would say there is want to rely upon the Aruch HaShulchan for sure. We'll pick it up from Siftas in the next year. B'siyata Dishmaya.